essential number 9. Good research is human. Something I know that you feel super passionate about. Share your thoughts with us.
I do feel really passionately about it, and I think so often we can look at the data, whether that's qualitative data, whether that's semiotics, whether that's quant data, whatever it is, and we can forget that there's humans and people at the other end of it, and it can be so easy to just think of it as that one piece of information and forget we're talking about people at the end of the day, and people don't always behave in rational manners or expected manners or do what they claim they do, and actually we need to keep that in mind. We need to remember people aren't perfect. People will do things you don't expect or do things in different ways, and we have to remember that when we're looking at the data. If the data we're looking at doesn't quite make sense, maybe we should think about it from a human point of view. Can you look at this and think, okay, I feel I know that person. I can see where that story comes from. Does it make sense on a human level, not just on a data level?
I think that's really interesting. One of the things, of course, that we do a lot of here at Quadrangle is draw on behavioural economics, behavioural psychology principles in our research. And I wonder whether you can kind of bring those two things together. Because although it's kind of science, behavioural science, it is also helping to shed light on very human characteristics.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where behavioural science is so important to help explain some of those inconsistencies we see. I mean, we talk a lot about sort of a value-action gap between people saying something they believe in and they genuinely believe they do it, it's a genuine belief they hold, and yet their actions don't match that. And I think it's those things where behavioural science can really help explain that and make those things make sense. And I think also behavioural science is really important because it takes that step back, and as much as participants or people responding to a survey, they're great at telling us what they think, they're great at telling us what they believe they do. Sometimes you need that step back and look at, okay, well, we can look at patterns of behaviour, and we can look at why that might be in the subconscious reasons, why these things might happen, or why people might say this, not just that surface level, well, this is what I think I do. Sometimes you need that step back to look at the patterns of behaviour, not just the claimed behaviour of the individual.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, that puts us in the role of standing in a different type of gap, not between the say and the do, but in the gap between the client and the customer to help interpret and to bring it to life, to personify, to draw on something you were saying earlier.
Absolutely, and I think you see so much where we'll look at customer data, or we'll go into a project where there'll be these sort of ingoing hypotheses about who our customer is and what she cares about and what matters to her and her family or whatever it might be. And you won't find that out really unless you speak to people. And I think, this goes back to one of the essentials we were talking about earlier about starting from scratch, starting from data we already know. Sometimes we can look at that data and think, okay, well, let's dig into it and work out what this really means and find the people at the other end of it. It's about the whole big picture.